Okay, welcome back. We are ACI Course 9, Class 9, July 7th, 2025. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize that the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about emptiness and karma, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, turn your mind back to your precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure word. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamiri Hatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. To the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings reach their total awakening for the benefit of every single other. Okay, bless. Last class, we started into the Lamrim. And we learned about the importance of the lineage. We learned about our lineage. Thank you, Chris, for your diagram. That's beautiful. Future classes will bear the benefit of that. And we learned about the benefits of the studying of Lamrim, benefits of practicing it, more importantly. And so in order to do that review, I thought to read to you the verses from the Song of My Spiritual Life that laid that out to us, laid out the lineage, so showed us the authenticity of the teachings, and then went into the benefits of the Lamrim. And that will take us to the first Lam, which is the beginning topic of this class. So just listen, here's our review. The Song of My Spiritual Life by our hero, Jetson Kapa. Your holy body was birthed by billions of perfect good deeds. Your holy words fulfill the hopes of infinite living beings. Your holy mind sees all things in the universe exactly as they are. I touch my head to the feet of that leader of the Shakya clan. I bow down to the undefeatable and to gentle voice, the 2 highest children of that matchless teacher, who took upon themselves the heavy load of all the victor's deeds, engaging in the divine play with emanations sent to countless different realms. I prostrate at the holy feet of those known as Nagarjuna and Asanga, so widely famed through the 3 realms. You are true jewels of our world who undertook to comment in a perfectly accurate way upon the true thought of the Mother Sutras of the victors, so extremely difficult to fathom. I bow down to Dipankara, maker of lamps, who holds a great treasure of advices, which incorporate unerringly each and every one of the essential points of the paths of the profound view and widespread activities, descended so perfectly from the two great innovators. I bow down to all those spiritual friends who utilize a variety of skillful means to clarify these teachings moved by their love. They are eyes to view all of the myriad forms of high teachings, the very highest point of entry for those of sufficient goodness to make the journey to freedom. The steps on the path to enlightenment, passed down with such excellence in their own stages through the two of Nagarjuna and Asanga, are a jewel on the top knot of each and every master upon this planet, a victory banner of great renown, glorious here among beings. These are an instruction which is the very king among the lords of all jewels, for they fulfill each and every one of the aspirations of beings. They combine the rivers of 1,000 beautiful classics. As such, they are a glorious ocean of fine explanation. The steps also allow us to grasp that each one of the teachings is completely compatible with all the others. They also make it possible for all the classic teachings of the Buddha to strike us as advice meant for each of us personally. They permit us to locate with perfect ease the true intent of the victors, and we are also protected from falling off the high cliff of the great mistake. As such, the steps are a supreme form of instruction relied upon by a great many people of sufficient goodness, by great masters in both India and Tibet. Where could we find a person with intelligence whose heart wasn't completely stolen away by these steps of the path designed for persons of three types of capacity? This, then, is a system which embodies the deepest heart of all the high speech of the enlightened ones. When we teach or listen to the steps, even just a single time, we are able thus to obtain with perfect certainty and with powerful efficiency all the benefits of explaining and listening to all the holy Dharma. Contemplate then this point well. The specific root cause then of getting off to a good start in the entire collection of the good things that could ever happen in this life or in our future lives is our holy spiritual friend, the one who shows us the path. And then with great efforts, we need to rely upon that Lama in our thoughts and in our actual actions. Seeing this, we see that we must please them with the offering of accomplishing everything they have commanded us to do without ever giving it up, even at the cost of our life. I, the deep practitioner, have accomplished my practice this way, and you who hope for freedom, should you do your practice the same. So verse 11 is that verse about how to get off to a good start so that our spiritual path can be done with ease and efficiency. And this is the first step of the Lam Rim. This first rung of the ladder is finding our teacher and building this relationship with them such that it is the foundation, the source of all our good, right? the source of every good thing that happens in this life and further. So that we often hear Geshe Michael say, or I remember often hearing him say, it's like really the Lamrim has two parts. The first is finding your teacher and establishing this relationship with them. Like that's the major part of the Lamrim. And then all the rest of it is just like all the rest of it. It's like a little bit. The big part is here. This very first step is the major one. So he gave us this particular verse in Tibetan. He felt it was so important that we should see it in Tibetan. And turns out he only gave us part of it in Tibetan, now that we have the whole thing. But I'll share with you what he shared originally in terms of seeing it in the Tibetan. For our seeds to help Tibetans stay in the world. And look what a good job we've done, because Song of My Spiritual Life, it's now a little book, which it wasn't before. So all this just looking and saying Tibetan, is paying off. We will keep doing it. We now have translators learning how to translate. They're doing a really good job, aren't they? Like they talk about, I don't know, I don't even know the English words. Is that a declension or is that a blah, blah, blah? And it's like, I don't know what he's talking about. In the group of mixed nuns, they're like talking about those things like they're real things, It's like, what? I don't know English well enough to learn another language. It's terrible. Okay, so this verse about the spiritual guide. Deni di chi leksok jinyepa. Tendra lekpar drikpe tsawani. Lam ten shenyan. There's more to it. Lam ten shenyan dampa wapadi. Some dung jorwad sulchin senpa ru is the rest of it. But here's the important part. The dine means and then, or because of that, meaning what came before, meaning we've recognized that we have a lineage. And the lineage goes back to Shakyamuni. And that makes the practice authoritative for us, at least. And that the Jetsun Kappa has pointed out that practicing the Lamrim, we get this for benefits, right? We've heard all that. And so now, right? And then it's what Dene means. You hear His Holiness the Dalai Lama often say, Dene, right? And he goes on with the next thing. That's this. Di Chi. Di means this life, and Chi means every life coming. So something about this life and every life coming. Lek sok jin yepa. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Lek sok means all the good things. And jin yepa is like however many will ever happen to you. So all the good things that could ever, would ever, have ever happened, will ever happen, not have ever happened. Well, maybe that too. Ever, now and in future lives. Something about that. Dendro usually means dependent origination. But here the meaning is to get off to a good start. Uh, in the sense that you're really clear about what you're setting out to do. You know, your motivation is good. You have you have everything you need gathered, and like everything is going well. And so you go on to do what you need to do, and everything goes smoothly because you're so well prepared. You know, that's what it means to get off to a good start, as opposed to, you know, wanting to accomplish something, but I haven't figured out exactly how to do it. I don't really know what it is I need. Yeah, you know, and then we set about to do this thing ill prepared, and it just doesn't go well. Everything's a struggle. So this idea to get off to a good start, you know, I realized I'm talking to people whose different languages are ours. I'm not sure that it's conveyed, but here dendro means this auspicious beginning to something. Lekpar means to get it exactly right. So this being at the starting point with something that if we get it just right, it will be the source of every good thing that can happen in this life or any future life. But I hope I've gotten your attention. Like, what? There's something that can do that for me. What might it be? That if I get off to a good start with it, all good things forever. Sawani means a pivotal moment. There is this pivotal moment in this relationship with this thing that if we get it right, then like good things will come in this life and all lives. Lam Tun Shenyin. Where's Lumpton? Lam means path. So Lumpton is like the path of learning. And here's the main word that's important is Shenyin. After we've done all that about the lineage and the benefits, then see that the very foundation of an excellent start for all the good in this and future lives is the spiritual guide who teaches you the path. Lumpton teaches the path. Shenyan, our relationship with our Shenyan, to get off on the right foot with your Shenyan from at the beginning, establishes I don't know how to finish that, establishes the quality, the speed, the effort needed, the pleasance or unpleasance of the rest of our path. So there's a lot of meaning in here that can be misunderstood. And when it's not misunderstood, we really see the power of having this deep relationship with this being that we're calling our Shenyan. So this word Shenyan, in Sanskrit, it's Kalyana Mitra. Shenyan, the She in Shenyan means blood, and the Nyan means relation. So literally the word means a blood relation. So, you know, anybody that we're related to by blood, right? I guess. how you figure that. But, and you know, in English, we have this term, blood brother, blood sister, and we don't use it to mean, you know, my brothers and sisters in this life. We use it to mean somebody who I'm not actually related to, but I feel so close to, like I'm even closer to them than I am to my own sister, for instance. And then when we were kids, I don't remember actually ever doing this, but when we were kids, we, you know, you are so amazing. You are my best friend forever. Let's seal it, you know, let's become blood sisters. And you would prick your finger, you know, with the pin and get a little blood, and you'd go like this. And then it's like, okay, now we're blood sisters, you know, and it like made this bond between you. Geshe says this idea of a shenyan is more like that than like, oh, we're related by blood, because, you know, you can love your brothers and sisters, but not actually like them, you know? And so it's like, yeah, I'll help you when you have need, but you know, we don't need to interact on a regular basis. Thank you very much. And that's fine. Just because we're related doesn't mean we have to, you know, live together. My parents always used to say, you have to love each other because you're brothers and sisters, but you don't have to like each other. You know, go your own way. That's fine. Shenyan, though, it's not like you have to love them. It's that you do, right? And you like them, and you're like, you really admire them, and you want to spend time together, right? Because the two of you are better than either one alone, in the sense, you know, you anyway. So in this particular context, however, it takes that sense of bondedness, and it's from the one person's side towards the other. The shenyan is in a spiritual sense. So here we have this feeling of deep, deep personal connection with someone, but then not in the terms of, oh, we are equal, but in the sense of, oh, they're the one who knows what I need. They're the one who loves me even more than I love myself. And that's like hardly possible. They're the one, you know, who will guide me on my path through thick and thin. They're the one, like they're the one, you know, not romantic, they're the one for me, but in terms of this admiration and aspiration, and, you know, we look up to them so much, and we have this deep personal connection with them, you know, so we can admire and aspire to someone, but not feel like we would be, that there's any, like, there's any actual personal relationship, or, you know, we wouldn't get that close to them. We can admire them from afar. Shenyan is, you know, this being we aspire to become like, but also this being that we feel deeply personally connected to. So we're trying to get all of that packed into one word. And that's what the term in Tibetan Shenyan means, Kalyana Mitra. So we'll have many teachers in life. And even within our Dharma career, we have many teachers, different sutra teachers, right? Maybe different ones who grant us our vows. So we have vow masters who are different. Then maybe our Diamond Way teacher is different than our sutra teacher. Maybe they're not even in Diamond Way. We'll have different teachers, different guides. And then there'll be the one. There'll be the Shenyan, who may not even be one of those formal teachers, but they're the one that you're so connected to, and that something in your heart tells you that they know you. They know the real you. They know the highest you and the worst you, and they know what you need to give up and need to take up. Whether you actually see them glowing in light or see them as omniscient, it's just your connection with them is like they're the one that can show me the path. To have a relationship with such a being is what is being described as the source of our ability to progress along the path. So we could want to progress along the path, and we could take all the classes, but have a sense in our mind of, I can do it myself. I'll hear what I have to do and I'll do it myself, but I can figure it out. And that'll work to some extent. But if we want to get off to a good start, to make, smooth-ish, right? It's never going to be smooth, but smooth, steady, rapid progress. Having this personal spiritual guide relationship and how we establish it is this pivotal moment that takes that spiritual career and jettisons it. And it's a long story about why that's true. It could sound like, here's this teacher saying, look, how you treat me is pivotal to your happiness. So you have to treat me well. Give me everything. Do what I say. Do you see how easily that could be terribly abused from both disciples' side and teachers' side? So, of course, that's not what's being meant here at all. So we really do need to understand where the power of this being comes from. If they're thinking it's in them, they're not the right one. If you're thinking it's in them, we don't have it right either. So they say to get off to a good start is this pivotal moment in our spiritual career. It is literal in the sense of there is a method one goes through to establish this relationship, like formally. And they say if you do that in an inauspicious way, just like everything right, all the steps of your path following that teacher, the road will be just bumpy and full of potholes and dangerous cliffs, and it'll just be a struggle. Whereas if you do that all properly, it'll be pretty much smooth sailing. But come on, so the instructions are, you're looking for a spiritual guide. First step, decide you need one. And then you're pretty sure you know what qualities you're looking for. We're going to talk about that. And you're spying on different ones until you meet the one where you go, oh, they're the one. And then the tradition is you would think of get some kind of offering that, for you, is important, valuable, meaningful. And you would take your offering and you would go to them and you would make their offering and you would request formally, multiple times to be taken as their disciple. And, maybe they just say yes, maybe they grill you about why, maybe they say no, who knows what happens. But they say if in that process you get off to a bad start, it's just going to be hard ever after. But like, how could you get off to a bad start? So the story is there's, some guy, he checks out the teacher, he finds his lama, he goes to the lama, he takes this beautiful vase, but the vase is empty. And he offers this empty vase to the lama, which in that culture apparently is like you never offer an empty vessel, right? And it's like we learn that when we're setting up our altar, you never put an empty vessel upright on the altar. Like you're waiting to do something with it, you set it there. Always set it upside down, or set it aside, and then always have something in it, right? So when we're doing our water bowls, right, they're upside down. You pick it up, you fill it even part way before you set it down. You don't set it down empty and then fill it up, right? So it's just these little details. I don't know, in Western culture, I don't remember anybody ever saying, don't give somebody an empty vase. But you don't take an empty plate, right? If they brought you cookies, you wouldn't wash their plate and take it back to them. You'd put something in it, I guess, is like close in although many times I've just taken the plate back. Sorry for that distraction. The point is, they say this guy who gave the empty vase as his offering, his relationship with his lama was just, constant struggle. And if he had just put some rice in the vase, then theoretically his relationship with his lama would have been easier. And again, it's like, come on, self-existently, what difference does it make? If that's really your Shenyan, they don't care one wig what kind of offering you give them, right? They know their role. They know that, right? From their side, it doesn't matter. It's our side and how we are showing respect and what our own mind is saying, feeling, as we're going to them to declare that we need them to help us, weed out the parts of ourselves that are blocking us from being the love that we see them as being, that we aspire to becoming like. So this being, to get off on the right foot with this relationship with this being, is so pivotal, tsawani, that we want to understand really, really well, who I choose as that lama, or maybe better, who's qualified for me to recognize them as my lama. Because technically, although we may be meeting them for the first time in this lifetime, right? We had to have known them before. Not my personality, Sarani, knew them before, but my mind, my subject side mind, to meet them in this life means we've had, right, connection before, which of course means that if their physical body withdraws or my physical body withdraws, we haven't necessarily lost the connection. And that is circumstances that happens to many people, that you have that being you are devoted to, and you're being as good a disciple as you can, and oh my gosh, they die. Lama Yeshe died, he was only in his 40s, and left all those folks, right, in a really painful place. Fortunately, he had his disciple who stepped in. So Shenyan is the word for this special being. But Shenyan Tensel is this important piece. Tensel means what you do with them. So apparently in Tibetan, that word tensel, its meaning in the colloquial is what you do with the prescription your doctor gives you. So you're not feeling so well, you go to the doctor, they examine you. Oh, you have such and such here, this herb, this medicine will help your body fix it. So you go, what you do with the medicine, what you do with the prescription, tensel, is you go fill it at the pharmacy, you get the medicine, you read the instructions, you take the medicine, you follow their instructions, and you get better. So tensel means this, you follow you take it, you take the medicine, you follow the instructions and you take the medicine. So what you do with your Shenyan is you follow their instructions, you take the medicine, right? So really this pivotal piece of having the Lama is the tensel part, is what we do with them. And in English, really, it would mean how we use them. Like how we use our Lama is this pivotal piece that establishes whether the ladder of our lam is solidly grounded and can stay put as we go up the rungs, or if it's wobbly. Imagine going on a ladder where the ladder is like, whoa, right? It would be a rocky ride. So really in English, we say, oh, how you use somebody, it's a negative connotation. It means, we're going to take advantage of them. And I just felt used by them. So here we need to override that kind of use and think of taking the medicine, right? It's like, how do we take the medicine of our spiritual guide? But it really is that idea. So the bottom line of our relationship with this spiritual guide is that they are our most fertile soil for planting our mental seeds of merit. They are the arena in which our purification will happen and our merit making will happen. And when we are declaring ourselves or requesting to declare ourselves to be in our relationship with them, what we're actually doing is establishing to our own mind that they are this most powerful karmic object in my world. And so now our interaction with them is the place where we make our good karma, bad karma with such strength or power that we can rely on those seeds to carry us along the rungs up the ladder. So we can see that if we don't understand this relationship with the teacher well as we're going into it, and we're expecting them to behave in certain ways, or we're expecting them to do for us, and we don't understand that, right, this how karma works in relation to them, we won't have this drive to be using them as the source of my seed planting for the realizations that we're wanting to get to. And so really, we set up this relationship with this spiritual guide, and what we're saying to our own mind and to them is, I'm gonna I'm gonna use you as my karmic object, and I'm gonna do it really intentionally. And so, like, what can I do for you? And then it would seem like, all right, you just move next door and you clean their house and you do their laundry and you go to groceries and right, you just take care of them, take care of them, and take care of them. And that would be a powerful relationship with the Lama, but it isn't necessarily necessary because how many people can do that? You know, only one. You only need one to be the attendant. 15 attendants, come on, everybody. It's like for the longest time, Geshe Michael lived up there at Rainbow House, and he said, "Don't anybody live in can't remember the name where Rimrock." And then all of a sudden, right, his attitude shifted, and now this community is growing up around him. He's never really had that before, a close set of students that are close all the time. And it must be sweet. Like I'm not part of it at all. But I can also imagine knowing the part of him that didn't do that before is that there's part of him I'm sure that's feeling like, man, this is a big pain in the butt. To have to juggle all of that when all he wants to do is translate. But that's what a teacher does out of love, right? They do what's needed. They are being what's needed by those who have right declared themselves. So technically, this being, when they accept a student, what they're saying, what they are understanding is that they've just signed up to be this mirror of the student's karma, good karma and bad karma. And that their role is to just be what that student needs, right? From their side, out of love. And then from the student side, the student just draws right out of that teacher, whatever it is that is needed for that student's progress. So, if we get off on the wrong foot, then that mirror just is rough. If we get off on the right foot, meaning we really understand the process, then we understand what's going on when things get rough, and we understand what's going on when things are going smoothly. So in that sense, everything's going smoothly, even when it's not. When we don't understand well the process of this relationship, and we declare, oh, this person, they're the angel, right? They love me so much. And then we have these expectations that they'll always act so holy. And then we get close enough to them and we see, oh my gosh, they pick their nose, they fart, right? They even say rude things sometimes. It's like, whoa, maybe I made a mistake, maybe, right? We have these doubts and if we don't understand where all that's coming from, right? Oh my gosh, they're wonderful. And oh my gosh, they're human. If we don't understand it's all coming out of our seeds and they're merely being the mirror, then, right, we'll doubt, we'll wonder, maybe I made the mistake. And that kind of doubt or change your mind is like devastating to one's progress up the ladder. And I have a note to myself in these notes that said that at some point I had a realization that, in some past relationship with the Lama, I got it wrong. I did something wrong, like doubted or rejected or something like that. And I paid for it karmically with eons of not having a spiritual teacher, not able to find a spiritual teacher, And even in this lifetime, my Shenyun relationship is not with an embodied being. And this whole tradition is about finding your Shenyun in the apparent flesh and having this close relationship with them, even if you're not physically close, having this rely upon them relationship, using them as this powerful karmic object, which in some ways is easier to do when your lama's not in the flesh, they're everywhere, and harder to do when they're not in the flesh because they're everywhere. You don't get the immediate direct feedback when you're interacting with some being that is still a little bit in your imagination. So we do want to have this Shenyun be in the flesh. But then when we're thinking, oh, well, they have to look a certain way, do they have to have robes? Do they have to know the Dharma? Who are they? How are we going to know who they are or what they are? And people who have this relationship, they say, oh, I just knew in my heart. But even when we meet up with someone, it's like, oh, I know they're the one. We still, this tradition says it's still necessary to look at their qualities. Maybe that heart felt they're the one is some other kind of they're the one. If we have this like personal relationship, human in love, right? Samadhi says, the first time I saw her, I knew I was going to marry her. It's like, you did not. But he says it now, right? It's like, I just knew in my heart we were connected. And, in a sense, I did too. But that doesn't mean you just right then go, okay, let's get married, right? It's just you have this attraction and you'll check them out. Is he really somebody I want to get to know? And then if not, you go, okay, whatever that connection was, right? We just ignore it. So same with looking for our spiritual guide. There are certain qualities that we want to see in them. And so even if we have this heartfelt, ooh, they're the one, we should look for these spiritual qualities. So we've heard them before. I don't know that we've ever gotten them in Tibetan before. So here they are in Tibetan. If this being is going to be our powerful karmic object, here are the qualities we want to see in them. Dolwa, Shiva, Near Shiva, Yunten Lakpa, Sinche, Lunkichuk, Dani Rabtok, Makeden, Sewe Dakni, and Kyowapang. There they all are in one place. So Dolwa, we've been studying Dolwa, ethics. It means controlled or tamed. So we want them to, I got ahead of myself, be controlled. Here it means the first of those three trainings, ethical living. They live ethically. They are controlled. They have controlled themselves. They have disciplined themselves. So they are living according to the three sets of vows. The three sets of vows, when you hear that, it means the pratimoksha vows, the bodhisattva vows, the diamond way vows. Within the pratimoksha vows, they're living at the very least carefully avoiding the 10 non-virtues. Better, they have the 5 lifetime lay vows. Maybe they have ordination, maybe they don't. It's not it adds to their, for us, for the disciple, it adds to their powerfulness of a karmic object if they are ordained, but it's not, right? It's up to you whether that's a box that needs to be ticked or not. From the teaching side, it's like it's not necessary for your Shenyan to be ordained, but they are tamed, right? They have tamed themselves. So how are we going to know that? We would have to be around them. We would have to see how they behave in good situations and unpleasant situations. And like, see when everybody's upset, do they behave in a way that I find admirable? Do they set a good example? Because we're looking to them to be the one to guide me in my own behavior. So I don't know. I don't want to declare myself to somebody who, the minute things go wrong, they get all pissed off and start yelling at people. It's like, well, thank you very much. You're wonderful in every other way, but I don't want to be like that. So maybe you're not the one. Okay. Shiva means peace. It means the second of the three trainings, meditative concentration. Their mindfulness is strong. Like, how can we know how strong somebody's meditation is? You really can't know. But we can see we can judge their quality of mindfulness off the cushion to some extent. All of this is what we're looking for. What we perceive is coming from us, not that we're making it up, but we're looking for these qualities that reveal that they have deep meditative skills. Third one, near Shiva, they are really peaceful. And this one refers to the third training, which is the collection of wisdom. Here, not meaning they have the direct perception of emptiness, but it's clear that they have a very, very deep or high intellectual understanding, because you can see by their behavior that they're living according to karma and emptiness. That you see in an unpleasant situation where you expect them to yell, and instead they say something especially kind that, right, changes the whole situation, right? We can see their skillful means with how they interact with situations, both pleasant and unpleasant. And we conclude, oh, they really do live what they teach. Right? Karma and emptiness is real for them. That's this near Shiva. Yuntin Lakpa. Yuntin means spiritual qualities. Lakpa means excessive or greater than mine. We want to see their spiritual qualities as greater than our own, because that means they've made more progress than we have. That means they're gonna know, right, how to deal with mental afflictions better than I know. Right? We don't go to a teacher to learn to play piano who doesn't know. Like, we know how to play piano a little bit and we want to learn to get better. We don't go to a teacher who doesn't play better than you do, right? Who hasn't had better training. So Yuntin Lakpa, they have higher spiritual qualities than me. Sunche means effort. They have great effort, meaning they are clearly dedicated to the two goals. The two goals means for their own ultimate benefit and for the ultimate benefit of others. So that clearly says that this teaching about the Shenyan and qualities of the Shenyan are Mahayana, right? From a Mahayana level. Because Hinayana wouldn't say that, well, maybe they would. Hinayana doesn't have the two goals, it has one's own personal goal. And so your teacher is somebody who's hell-bent on reaching their nirvana, or we already see that they've reached it, which is why we are aspiring to them as our teacher. For Mahayana, we have the bodhicitta piece, which always has the two goals. I want to reach my total Buddhahood because I'm sick of suffering and being ignorant slob, but my renunciation is turned on to everybody. I want everybody to get free. And in fact, the only way I can get free myself is to try to help everybody get free, which I really can't do until I'm totally enlightened. So I'll just keep the cycle going, help them, right? Grow me, help them, grow me, help them, grow me. And you never stop doing that. Even as Buddha, you're still emanating to help those who don't see themselves as the Buddhas that you see. So how did I get there? Tsunche, they have this great effort. You spy on them and you see that like everything they do is underlaid with these two goals. How are you going to judge that in somebody else? It's number 6. No, let's take our break. Let's take our break. I'll pause the recording. Yeah. All right, we need to get going here. Next one, Lung Ki Chuk. Lung means scripture, Chuk means wealth. And so the rich in scriptures, they say they should have mastery of the 3 baskets. The 3 baskets is the Vinaya basket, the Sutra basket, the Abhidharma basket. But meaning Vinaya, they know the scriptures on ethical life. They know the scriptures that teach how to concentrate. They know the scriptures that teach wisdom. So the words Vinaya, we understand ethical life. Sutra, we tend to think, oh, Buddhist sutras, but these all come from Buddhist sutras and more. And then, but here sutra refers to everything about learning to concentrate, how to meditate. And Abhidharma does not just mean Abhidharma kosha, it means the higher wisdom. So they've mastered these 3 scriptural collections. They have the resources from which to teach, which then implies, oh, well, then they need to be a Buddhist master, right? They need to be a geshe, they need to be, but that's one of those like gray areas. It's I'm looking for my spiritual guide who can teach me. Do they have to have their 18 ACI certificate? And it's like, right? I'm not going to say yes or no. Then Deni Rabtok. Deni means emptiness. Rabtok is a realization, great realization. So this one is saying we want them to have that great realization of emptiness. Meaning, ideally, our personal Shenyan has seen emptiness directly, and so has those qualities of no longer belief in self-existence, even though the world may be appearing to them that way still. However, they say a very high intellectual understanding of emptiness, it serves as this quality as well. And how would you know anyway? So it's unusual for someone to say they've had the direct perception of emptiness. And then actually the scripture describes that you don't say for reasons that your own mind understands the seeds you would plant if you heard yourself say it. And so you're not gonna. So even if somebody asks directly, have you seen emptiness directly? An Arya's answer is gonna, right, be skillful, use skillful means to avoid answering the question directly for a lot of different reasons. So it's actually quite extraordinary that we have someone who years ago came out and declared that he had had that realization. But even when he did that, it was 20, almost 30 years after he'd done it, before the circumstances were such that it felt necessary for him to say so out loud. And the circumstances around that were a little bit touchy. And as a result, some of the community that had gathered to build Diamond Mountain left. And, for whatever reason they did. Nowadays, like he's not the least bit shy about letting people know. And it's our good seeds to be able to hear that and understand. But recognize that outside of our good seeds, right, there may be beings that hear him talk like that and they reject, doubt, right? Which is why you don't usually say, because of the negative karma of people that doubt. But in his wisdom, he sees there's an advantage. But it's like at a big risk for himself to be willing to do that. So back to our topic at hand, we do want our Shenyan to have this wisdom. How would we know even if we were to say, have you seen emptiness directly? They won't tell us for sure. Like, how are we going to know? And again, we're doing this careful Sherlock Holmes thing, right? Like watching them, listening to them, listening for clues, watching their responses to recognize the extent to which they seem to be on ordinary human pilot reaction mode, or whether they are responding carefully, always. And then the other way we can assess one's understanding of emptiness, even intellectually, is how they teach it. And so we are taught to teach it the way Geshe Michael taught it. Right? And then he modifies it to the pen thing. And then the most important piece in that is that always included in an explanation of emptiness is an explanation of behavior, karma. Because to learn about emptiness without drawing the conclusion of our behavior matters is a misunderstanding of the importance of emptiness. It's the misunderstanding of emptiness at all is to talk about emptiness without talking about the appearing side. And to talk about the appearing side and its emptiness, the reason why it appears the way it does is because of karma. And karma means what I saw myself do towards others, not literally see, right? My awareness, my mind's awareness of its interaction with other. The ethical component of our behavior and emptiness are so intertwined that someone who knows emptiness can't talk about emptiness without talking about behavior. And they'll know not ever to do that. Even if their 2-hour talk is on emptiness and the last minute is, oh, and by the way, right? because of emptiness, be nice if you want a nice world, because that's where it's going to come from. It's always got to be tied. So of course, if you hear somebody teaching that emptiness means a big black hole that everything falls into, or emptiness is this clear light that you reach at death, and you know, we've been so well trained that it's like, no, that's not what emptiness is. We'll understand that although this being may be absolutely exquisite in every other way, if we understand emptiness and karma better than they do, they're not the one who's gonna get us to see it directly if they don't even know about it, right? So Dani Ropten, Ma Ke Den, Ma Ke means master, Den means to possess, the Ma is this teach. So this is their master teacher. They possess mastery of teachings and teaching. And this means they have this capacity to teach to the level of the student. And, you know, ultimately, when Buddha spoke, everybody heard what they needed to hear, even in their own language. Like, we could look for a teacher like that. You know, if that's our criteria, it might be hard to find one. But and here, it's like if a teacher's teaching to a group, you know, they put it to a level that the higher capacity people still get a little bit of a challenge, but the ones that are more beginners don't get wiped out. They teach sort of in the middle. But more, this is about one-on-one teaching. So suppose your Shenyan is somebody else's Lama too, and you go to them for advice and they give you this advice, and the other person goes to them for advice and they give a similar situation, but the other person gets totally different advice. And maybe yours seems harder to you to understand and theirs seems so obvious to you for them. And you realize, oh my gosh, the teacher knew to challenge me a little bit more because I was ready for it. And they knew that what they did for the other student was just as challenging for the other student as mine is to me. Do you see? This teacher has this ability to push when the push is necessary and back off when the back off is necessary. And we're looking for a teacher who has that capacity, right? We want to see in them this kind of ability to adjust the teachings according to what I need. Not meaning they're going to change the teachings, but how they personally teach me, right? They will match according to my ability. So they teach to the student's ability and they teach to the student's speed capability. This is the Makeden. 9, Sewe Dakni means the embodiment of love. Dakni is embodiment. Sewe is love. Mikme Sewe, Turchan Chanrazi. Meaning we can somehow know that their motivation for teaching is out of love and compassion for their students, not out of personal gain, not out of monetary gain, not out of desire for respect or fame. They know where suffering comes from. They know that it's all a big mistake. They know that when anybody recognizes the mistake and stops making it, they're on the conveyor belt out. And they know that all they want for other beings, students or not, is for them to wake up to that mistake, right? And get started on a path to stopping that mistake. Like, all they care about is the students reaching their long-term goal. Kyowa pang number 10. Pang means to give it up. Kyowa is distaste. So they've given up all distaste. What they mean here is they're beyond discouragement, meaning willing to teach over and over again, answer the same questions over and over again. Just keep changing the words until the student gets it. Never tiring of teaching, never tiring of being available. Not that they don't physically get tired, of course they do, but meaning, this is what I have, this is what I am, this is what I have to share. Not going to shut somebody off because they're asking yet again, what seeds did I make, for my husband to yell at me, but just go through it again and again and again, tirelessly. Gyo-appam. Because of their love, right? Their love doesn't wear out just because we're slow on the uptake. And so we want to see that in them. Geshe-la said, a mother doesn't give up on her kids. A mother doesn't divorce the kids. You're not my kids anymore because you're being such jerks, right? She may want to, but, right, temporarily. But it's like, they're my kids, right? I love them so much. They're making this mistake. I see where it's going to go. I wish I could just shake you awake, right? I wish the Buddhas would shake me awake. Gyo-appam. These qualities. So what if we found our holy Lama, we've declared ourselves to them, and we really have been working to serve them, right? And then they go away or they die, or like, what's happening really? Did we do something wrong, right? Did suddenly they stop being Lama? What happens when we don't have them available to us anymore? And of course, we know our seed shifted. It's really expensive karma to be close to this being. And so although it's high yield, high gain, it's also high risk in the sense that the closer we are, the more often we're around them, our own karmic seeds will be the more human they become. And that's the struggle in the relationship, is to keep our high view of them, even when our seeds are making them look to us human, with those human frailties, human mistakes, right? Human stuff. When we've declared this relationship, then our task is, when we see that stuff, to recognize, oh, my seeds are shifting, right? I need to go someplace else to get my goodness planted strongly, to remove that doubt and come back to this relationship. And maybe they look even more human when I get back, but my view of them is stronger, that they're just manifesting this for my benefit, right? To overcome my doubt or my, right, errors in my relationship in the past, whatever it is. They are going to be the reflection of what we need to work on. And that's what we sign up for in that relationship, right? So you can see how, I don't know, it's a really powerful and slippery relationship to have a Lama and to have them close, to be interacting with them regularly. So what if we recognize somebody as our Shenyan and they insist, no, like, I don't have those good qualities. I can't teach you anything. I can't be your Lama. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what's going on there? Do they or don't they have those good qualities that you see in them? Every time you see them, they're being so exceptionally kind and loving. Even when the person's in their face being nasty to them and they just love the person all the more, and it's like, oh my gosh, I want to be like them. And we spy on them and we decide they're the one for me and we go to them and, oh, please, would you take me as your student? And they go, I don't know what you're talking about. Go away. Like, whose seeds makes the llama? Right? The student seed. So you could have one llama, multiple students. This one says, oh man, I see them as total Buddha. And this one over there goes, I see them as extraordinary human, but Buddha, no, and everything in between. And what about from the lama's side? Do they necessarily see themselves with these good qualities that you see in them? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they see themselves with even better qualities that you don't see in them. Right? So we can see someone as looking extraordinary and human, and they can see themselves as totally enlightened being. We can see someone as, oh my gosh, I'm so sure you're totally enlightened being looking human, and they can see themselves as human. And this relationship can still work. Because what's important is what our seeds are ripening, and then how we tinsel that, what we do with that to perpetuate the goodness of seeing them in that high way, and to use that, their high good qualities, as this powerful karmic object, merit-making object, and so then serve them. How do we serve them? We put into practice what they teach us. It's not so important to do their laundry and cook for them. That's less important, actually. That what they want is that when they teach you a class about karma and emptiness, right, you go and you do your homework and you do your meditation. But more importantly, you track your behavior about how you're putting into practice what they've taught. So technically, the best way we serve our teachers is to learn, review, like listen, review, contemplate, and try it on for size. That's serving the teacher. That's making offerings to the teacher. Look, they were yelling at me. I got upset. I thought about what you said. I let the upset go. I realized that the upset was my seeds ripening too. None of it had to be the way it was. And I really did have the feeling, I want to help you, person who's so mad at me. Like, wow, I really did it, Lama. Right? That's what powers our relationship with the Lama. When they say make offerings to the Lama, those are the offerings that shows us that we are making a difference in ourselves by way of what they've taught. Mm-hmm. So, and that perpetuates the ability to do that, which is what they want for us. So where does the Lama's good qualities come from? If they see them in themselves, they come from the way in which that being interacted with their own lamas in the past. Where do our seeing beings with qualities of lamas come from? Our own past interaction with teachers in the past. So in order to have a close lama relationship now, it would need to be smaller seeds of close relationships with teachers in the past, ripening now bigger than before. Well, past is past, now is now. Like, what do I do if I have rotten seeds of interacting with the teacher, right? Purify, we understand. We're going to get there if I, golly, I've got to get going here. Right, you have a question on your homework. You know, where does the Lama's good qualities really come from? And our own past interaction with past teachers is what plants the seeds to be able to ripen into any teacher now, but especially the special teacher relationship. We've had it before. It's not manifesting, maybe. We need to stir those seeds up, right? Clear out the obstacles, add to the goodness of the ones that we have to get it to ripen. If we've had a close spiritual guide and now they're gone, right? We have other things that we need to do to clean it up. The tendency is to go, oh, they're gone, I give up, as opposed to recognize, no, that being looked like that before, that look is gone, but they are not gone. I can work on gathering the goodness to have them back again, look in some other way. And they can look different. It can be the same mind stream. No, never the same 2 moments in a row, but you know what I mean. Just not looking like that, looking like something else. And then that opens this whole thing. It's like, well, then even during their lifetime now, are they limited to looking like that? Like, are we only close to Geshe Michael when Geshe Michael is there? And it's like, no, that body's not Geshe Michael. Well, it is, but right, it's the mind stream we're relating to as the Lama. And that mind stream's everywhere. So in a sense, you know, you don't really need their physical body when we have this connection with them. But it's the physical body to which we can do physical karmas, right? And show the results of our practice, etc. So it is helpful and powerful to have a being in a physical body to be able to interact with them. But it's not that we're not interacting with them when they aren't there with you in a physical body. They are still aware of you. Okay, we got to move. So suppose, wow, they're the one. And we go to that holy being and we make this proper request. And oh my gosh, how wonderful, they accept us. Then what happens? Like, we've gotten on the first rung of the ladder. And it's like, oh, yay, you're so wonderful. You're my teacher. Like, they're not going to say, okay, sit down, open your notebook, let's get started. They wait for us to ask. Because they know unless we open our head, right? Anything they try to pour in is just going to flow away. So we need to know to ask, oh, holy teacher, you know, please teach me. What do I need? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And they'll go, get the essence of your life. And they won't say anything more unless we ask. So if you know how to get the essence of your life, you just go do it. But if you knew it, why would you need to ask the teacher, right? We would have just been doing it. So we would go, what do you mean by that? And then they say, oh, recognize your 8 leisures and 10 fortunes. Like our tradition says, recognize the advantage you have right now. So I'm going to go through these really quickly because we've heard them before. The 8 leisures means 8 circumstances we are free of that allows us to pursue a spiritual path. The 10 fortunes are 10 circumstances that we have that allow us to pursue this spiritual path. So there are 8 knots and 10 halves. The 8 leisures, things that we are free of, is we don't hold wrong views, meaning we understand and believe that our behavior has consequences. Second one, we are not born as an animal. Third one, we have not been born as a craving spirit, a hungry ghost, incapable of being satiated. Right? Fourth one, we have not been born in the hell realms. Nothing but obvious pain, like no room for any kind of questioning. 5, we've not been born in a land where the Buddhist teaching is not available. Number 6, we're not in an uncivilized land, meaning no one keeping vows of morality. Number 7, we've not been born as a human with disabilities, either mental or physical, that would prevent us from studying and practicing the Dharma. And then number 8, we've not been born as a pleasure being. Is my sound doing okay? I'm seeing my other me doing weird things. We're not so blissed out that we're just using up our good karma. Careful with that one. Our 10 fortunes, 5 relate to oneself and 5 relate to our outer circumstances. The 5 good circumstances that we have is we are born as humans in a central land, meaning in a land where the Buddhist teachings are still available to us. We have our faculties intact. We are not lost to the laws of karma. And we have the feeling of faith for the place is the word, but it means we have this faith in the Buddhist teachings. Right? We have an attraction to them, an interest in them. Not meaning blind faith, it's all correct no matter what, of course, but we're attracted to it. Then the 5 that relate to things outside ourselves is the Buddha has come here. Okay? Number 1, they taught. Implies that Buddhists can be in a world but not teach. Because if nobody asks them, they're not going to say anything. Third, where the teachings remain, even though the Buddha's gone. Where there are ones who are following those teachings, putting them into practice. And 5, where there's compassion, like some are following those teachings for the sake of others. So we have these 10 fortunes, you and me. And so, Lama, what do? Get the essence of your life. Recognize this amazing circumstance that we have. Not all humans are humans interested in the Dharma, have access to the Dharma, have the capacity to study it at the level we're studying it, even if they are interested in the Dharma. Our seeds are ripening in this exquisite way and have been for quite some time, right? Even if you just first started from the beginning of ACI, we've been at this for a couple of years, and you started before that, even. So Lama will leave it at that for us to cook this special, recognizing what an extraordinary and special circumstances that we have. And they won't say anything else until we come back to them. And if we think carefully about the ramifications of all that, we will come to our own recognition of, oh my gosh, there's no guarantee that I'll get this again. these 8 and 10 perfect circumstances. And then we realize, like, oh my gosh, I don't really know exactly when this life is going to end. Like, this is all these circumstances, right? I know people who drop dead suddenly or get cancer, and then that takes over their life. Like, we'll come to our own realization of impermanence if we just think about these 10 leisures and eight leisures and 10 fortunes. If we don't, it's like, all right, Lama, I see, I'm really available, what next? And we ask, they'll say, look, are you guaranteed to get this lifetime again? When you die, but right, they'll give the teachings on impermanence. They'll give the teachings on a death meditation. They'll give us the tools to come to our own realization that, oh my gosh, this is fleeting opportunity. I need to do something with it. Something powerful. We go through a period of fear and faith, technically. Like, we recognize we could lose these circumstances. We could end up hell being hungry ghosts, etc. And it's like, gads, Lama, what do I do? And they'll say, take refuge. And then traditionally, refuge means, Namo Guru, Buddhaya, Namo Guru, Dharmaya, Namo Guru, right? Just say the words over and over and over and over. And it's like, you can say the words over and over and over again, the army will come and slaughter you. Or maybe not, right? It's not the words. Oh no, the 3 jewels, refuge in the 3 jewels. That's how you declare it. We've been so well taught. We understand that the Buddha jewel is not the statues, it's not the words. It's the emptiness. It's the emptiness of the Buddha's mind. It's the emptiness of my mind. It's the emptiness of the army. It's the emptiness of the bullet. It's the emptiness. It's emptiness. Understanding emptiness, being aware, relating to emptiness and dependent origination as the essence of existence. We take refuge in that. We are ready to be slaughtered by the army or have the army show up and get to us and throw flowers on us instead. Right? We're ready for any of it when we are taking refuge in the emptiness of our mind, of Buddha's mind, of, it's like whatever happens, gonna happen. Dharma, taking refuge in the Dharma is not the books, the sutras. It's the realization that comes, right? The cessation in the mind of a being who has directly experienced the truth of no self-nature. And so ethical component of behavior appearing nature of experience, and the end of the belief in things having their own nature as a result, and all the ramifications of that as we've been taught. Taking refuge in the realizations of the path. That's the only thing that will help us. Does it help us in the moment? Not to stop whatever bad's happening, but to stop our bad reaction to whatever is happening is the actual refuge. We change our response. Third refuge is Sangha, not the people in robes, but those who have had the direct perception of emptiness. They show us that it can be done. And they show us the behavior changes that happen as a result and inspire us. Maybe they can help us physically, literally, in the moment of the army coming at us. Maybe they can't. Doesn't mean our refuge has failed us. Right? Our refuge is a thing that happens in our understanding. And it can be strong enough to actually shift the scene from army coming at us to everybody having a picnic. It could happen, right? We heard Lobsang Chuki Gyaltsen's experience. He failed the first time. He went and did this other merit-making stuff. The second time he comes out, look, army, you're just getting ready to kill each other. I have a better idea. Let's go have some tea. Okay, right? Why did they agree the second time and not the first time? He changed his seeds. So refuge is changing my seeds. Yeah. All right, Kongli, I need to go on. I'll get to your question at the end, okay? All right, so when we understand that real refuge is in our seed planting, right? Recognizing seeds ripening, our seeds done. How I respond, plants new. We go, oh, okay. So I see what I need to do going forward. Plant good seeds, plant good seeds, plant good seeds. But Lama, I've got all kinds of crap seeds in me from before I understood. What do I do with those? Am I doomed? Like I have to wear off every single one? That's going to take me a really long time. And of course, Lama says, good question. There is a process through which you can damage those previously done ugly seeds that you don't want to let continue to grow. And if you do those goodnesses well, those seeds that are cooking and growing, you can get them to ripen sooner now, and they'll ripen as a lesser ugliness than if you let them go on, right, until they come to their own manifestation. Diamond Cutter Sutra says that. To read and study the Diamond Cutter Sutra is such a great goodness that anybody who does it is going to suffer. Yikers, why would I ever read and study the Diamond Cutter Sutra if it's going to make me suffer? Because the suffering that comes up as a result of that goodness is suffering that, if left on its own, would have led you to hell, being, hungry ghost, animal realm existence. Wouldn't you really rather experience it now as a headache or a hurt foot or a sore elbow or a flat tire or a traffic jam than let it go on to become hell realm, hungry ghost? Of course. Of course I'd want it to ripen lesser. And once something ripens, it's done and gone. How we respond is planting new. Typically, we respond in the way that planted the seed for whatever comes up. And so it looks like, no, I get the same karmic seed over and over and over again. But technically not. Different karmic seeds. So we go, oh, so there's something I can do. I can read Diamond Cutter Sutra over and over and over and over. Yeah. And that would be one piece of the power of cleaning out these negative seeds. But there are 4 steps to doing this cleaning out process called the 4 powers, the 4 powers of purification. Again, we've heard them before, so I'm going to go through them fast. But maybe we haven't had them in the Tibetan before. I don't recall. So Tangito means the basis force. So whether we're sitting down to work on, all my past jealousy seeds, or I did something out of jealousy recently and I realized, oh, I want to purify that seed. Either way, suppose we start with saying, okay, I need to start by reconfirming my foundation of refuge. For Mahayanas, refuge in bodhicitta. So when we sit down to purify, the first thing we do is go emptiness and karma, right? I saw them do this. I believe they did it, right? To me on purpose. I blamed them for it. It made me hurt. I acted in that way from that hurt, thinking that that was going to solve the problem. And maybe it did and maybe it didn't, but I recognize now that I planted ugly seeds. So I'm going back to understand the whole situation was a ripening of my own seeds and no nature of its own. I could have responded differently, right? But my response was driven by my seeds ripening, right? I understand karma and emptiness. I take my refuge in the three jewels. We push ourselves back up and grow our regret stronger, right? Regret comes first, refuge happens, but then real regret comes up. Nampar Sinjimpeto. It means the total wipe it out power. Nampar Sinjimpe. Totally wipe it out. What totally wipes out our negative karma is that power of regret, intelligent regret of an educated Buddhist. Remember the three guys in the bar? Ugh, I shouldn't have done that. Not guilt, not I'm bad, not shame, just, oh, that was a mistake. Kabunk. Regret. We have the thing we want to clear out. There's already some regret. We recall karma and emptiness, like the three guys in the bar, right? Now our regret goes, oh, right? I've made those seeds. Just think it through until you feel it like that. Like to me, the mudra of regret is like that. Till you feel that, oh man, it was just such a mistake. Even though part of us is saying, no, I was justified to act like that, right? Regret should take that, no, I was justified, and right, bring it down to a dull roar until it really is gone. Regret is, no, my bad, totally my bad. Healthy, educated regret. Nye parle lang dope top comes up next because it's like, oh, so I will really want to refrain from doing that again. So this is the power of restraint. Nyepar means bad day, bad deed. Le larn dope, bad deed karma. Restrain myself power. Right? The power of restraining myself from repeating that in the future. So we call it the power of restraint. We establish a power of restraint, meaning, okay, next time they yell at me like that, I'm not going to respond in that way. I am going to respond in this way. Or maybe next time I have that feeling, right? So they yelled, I felt hurt because somebody blamed me for something I didn't do. But maybe the next time I feel that hurt, it's because not somebody yelling at me, but somebody saying, Tarani, you said you'd do such and such and you didn't do it. And then this feeling like hurt comes up. Same feeling of hurt, but different circumstance. And my power of restraint is next time that feeling comes up, like I'm gonna stay like a bump of a log, or I'm gonna give myself a little love instead of react against the person, right? Have a plan for avoiding repeating the seed that we're trying to weed out. But have the plan be a plan that you can actually keep. If we're working on jealousy, for instance, and we're feeling like every time you look at the neighbor, you feel jealous, then you say, I'm gonna refrain from jealousy for the next 10 seconds. And then open your eyes, look at the neighbor and go, wow, they have such great stuff. I'm so happy for you. And it's like you kept your power of restraint, even though in the next instant, right, you're jealous again. Make your power of restraint doable, do it. And then next 4 powers, do it again, because we want our power of restraint to be successful. Make it successful. Make it so it will be successful. Then, last power, Nyempo kuntu chupe to. Nyempo means antidote. So kunto kuntu chupe, some activity, some antidote activity. So not only will I restrain myself from that behavior again, I will do something to make up for it. So sometimes when we learn these 4 powers, the order is different because it depends on the situation and circumstance and the availability of doing an antidote. It doesn't matter what order you do them in, and you'll find how the sequence develops in your own heart. Oh, I get my refuge. I get my regret first, and then I go for refuge. Because then that tells me that if I restrain myself from repeating it and do an antidote, I can really fix it. Others like to refuge first, you see? So however the 4 work for you, but all 4 need to be present. There is the classical list of things that we do as the antidotes, which is the most powerful one, of course, is to study, meditate on emptiness. So to do an emptiness meditation on the 3 spheres of the factors of the event that we were purifying is a powerful antidote. But there are other ones that work as well. And then in another way, our antidote is to do the opposite of the seed that we just planted. So, if we're feeling hurt, and to lash back at the person seems to make us feel better, we decide that what the opposite of lashing back at somebody when I'm hurt would be what? To say something nice about them, say something nice to them instead. As much as I don't want to say anything nice to them, I'm going to make myself say something nice, something that's true. The color of your blouse is really beautiful. Even if it's like, what are you talking about? That has nothing to do with this situation. It's like, no, it has everything to do with this situation. I just did my antidote power. I compliment the person you want to put down. Say something happy about the person that you're jealous of. Plan out your antidote force. Doing the opposite is building the habit of responding with the opposite. But the antidote, the list of classical antidotes, doesn't say do the opposite. It says study emptiness, use holy words, what is the make holy images, right? They're all merit making tasks. The antidotes, the classical antidotes. We can be kind to somebody who's yelling at us, and that makes a good karma, but it isn't necessarily merit making. So we can do both. We can teach ourselves the new response by doing the opposite, and we can assign ourselves an antidote power that's actually a merit making power, right? From those 6 that we won't go into, but the 6, you can review them, right? So first step of the Lamrim, first half of it, find a teacher, right? That requires even recognizing that we want or need a teacher, which is hard in this day and age. And then finding them, creating them technically, right? So how do we find a teacher if these 10 qualities are actually difficult to know whether somebody else has them? If they're all coming from us anyway, then it would be like, well, these 10 qualities, they are things I want to see in myself. I need a teacher to teach me how to do it, but I kind of understand them. So I can start living according to them. I can be looking for them in other people. I can be admiring and honoring anyone that I do see with some of those good qualities. I can be trying to be those good qualities for others, the ones at least I can do. Maybe the embodiment of love, maybe the being disciplined and controlled, right? Maybe I can show those. Like we create the lama by growing these qualities in ourselves. Well, if we can grow the qualities in ourselves without the lama, why do we need a lama? That is the lama teaching us how to do it, being able to do it. The lama is helping us do that, even if they're not in the flesh. So then, do we really need them in the flesh? Technically not. The advantage is when they are in the flesh, we get to have this, right, tangible relationship with them so that we can see them receive our offerings. We can see them receive our questions and give us answers. It just adds to the power of the practice. So we create the lama by honoring and admiring those we see ahead of us on the path, admiring and honoring and putting into practice things that people teach us, whether they're about Dharma or not. We create the lama by way of our own seed planting, and that is the lama. And so it creates one. And then we go, Lama, please teach me. And we start up the rungs of the ladder. Get the essence of your life. Right? So we only got to, what do I do with all my old bad karma? Clean it up. We have one class left. We're not going to get through all the long rims, but we'll go as far as we can. And then class after that is review class. So next week, be on class on time if you want questions for the review, right? To teach me in the end. And we'll finish this course before Geshe Michael's Wisdom in the Time of Chaos. That'll be auspicious. And then you'll have a whole month or 6 weeks off. We'll start course 10 in September. So, yay. So remember that being that we wanted to be able to help at the beginning of class. We've learned a lot that we will use sooner or later to help them in that deep and ultimate way. And that's an extraordinary goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close. To continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And then carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it. By the power of the goodness that we've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, to share it with everyone you love, to share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with happiness, filled with the wisdom of loving kindness. And may it be so. Yay, good job, everybody.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Kong Lee had a question, so you're welcome to stay or you're welcome to go. I know we've gone over time. Thank you for the extra minutes I owe you.
Yes,
Yes.
teacher. This is the second time I asked you about the teacher. You know, the first time you say that, you know, you will know automatically when I meet him, okay, or you know, whoever. And now I want to ask, I mean, can it be like, you know, our partner can be our teacher as well? If let's say, you know, so happen he is practicing or he is learning, so is it can be our teacher as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So normally specifically how to plan a teacher out. So I mean, actually, in fact, I am looking for one, and then you know, so that you know, because I know that this is a breakthrough. If let's say, I want to know more about the wisdom. Yeah. That's it.
So Gashla has said, to bring your teacher to you when you go to bed at night. You imagine this, amazing holy Buddha being, perfect love, perfect compassion, perfect wisdom, and they are your pillow, right? Their lap is your pillow. And you put your head in their lap. Like, you don't really know who they are yet. You have this ideal. They're just mythical. You put your head in their lap and you go, "Oh, my Lama, you love me. I love you. Please come to me." And you just keep saying it until you fall asleep. "Oh, Lama, I love you. You love me. Please come to me." Then during the day, you're 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 like, anytime anybody does something for you, you go, "Wow, thank you so much." Like, really appreciate those who help you. Those who get in the way and those who don't, don't worry about it. Or even go, "Wow, thank you. You helped me." Right? Honestly, you're not just making it up. You helped me see what a jerk I was in the past. You don't say that part, but you think it. So it's like, gratitude, 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 gratitude. And at night, "Lama, I love you. You love me. I know. Please come to me." During the day, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Okay. Yay. Right.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Good
Uh,
question.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. See you Friday morning.
Thank you, Your Holy Lama.
Chris, I predict your foot will be better by then. Hope she's gone. Okay. Bye-bye. Love you too.
Bye-bye.